So fourth life-changing G down here. Last one, God is gracious. And because God is gracious, we don't have to prove ourselves. We don't have to overachieve. And the reason that we would stop trying to prove ourselves is because, help me out, God is gracious. That's why we stop trying to prove ourselves. Because we trust, we know, we really genuinely believe that God is a God of grace. And most of us spend so much time, so much of our energy, so much of our money and wealth trying to prove ourselves. And we do that publicly, and we likely do that privately. And trying to prove ourselves, prove that we belong, prove that we deserve the health and wealth that's available and looks like everybody else is getting, or to just prove ourselves that we've made it, we've accomplished it. And this leads us eventually to a sense of entitlement, that I deserve all this, I've actually earned it, I actually prove myself to get it, or we find ourselves in a state of despair saying, I'm doing all the things, where is the reward? Where is the kickback on all that I have done and all I've invested and all the time and attention I've given this? Theologically, it's hard for us to remember in those moments that theologically what the human needs because of our sinful nature is death and separation from God. That's the only just response to the evil hearts of a human being. We deserve separation from God. He goes on in Colossians, Paul writes this, he says, this includes you who were once far away from God. Don't forget, you were once far away from God and you were his enemies. You were separated from him by your evil thoughts and actions. Yet, now, he has reconciled you to himself through the death of Christ in his physical body. As a result, he has brought you into his own presence, and you are the holy and blameless. You are holy and blameless as you stand before him without a single fault because of being joined to Jesus by faith. Your union with Jesus means that when God sees you, he sees you standing before him blameless without a single fault, because when he sees you, he sees the robes of righteousness. And that means through God's grace, you're fully accepted. No more proving yourself. No more hoping and praying and wishing that God saw how much you deserved whatever it is that you were getting or whatever it is that you want and don't have yet. So, being fully accepted through Jesus means you're freed from the need to earn approval, to prove your worth. And it's a common struggle to continue on looking at other people and judging them by your own rules, judging them self-righteously to make sure that you have a sense of superiority or a righteousness, where we feel the need to prove our value to God and others through our own performance. And this will lead us to hyperachieve for recognition. How do you know if that's you? If you are achieving something and you're frustrated that you're not being recognized, that might be a symptom. Comparing ourselves to other people. They say something about comparison, don't they? They, the wise ones, they say comparison is the thief of joy. If you're wondering where your joy is today, it might be lost. It's leaking away in the way that you compare yourself with other people. And through the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus, he offers us life. And the only thing that we have to do to receive it is accept it by faith. You received his gift by faith. That's your part. You're not achieving anything else for yourself. Paul writes to the church at Ephesus and he says, God saved you by his grace when you believed. And you can't take credit for this. Now, why would Paul think to say, and you can't take credit for this, unless he knows what kind of people are? People are the kind of people who take credit for it. And by the way, this cycles through the New Testament over and over and over. You're saved by grace, God's grace, with your little bit of faith that God gives you. And that's all that there is. You can't take credit for this. He goes, this is a gift from God. Nothing you can take credit for. None of you received a gift this Christmas holiday and stood up and said, I just want to take time to thank myself for receiving these gifts. Thank you all for recognizing how much I deserved it. A gift is a gift. You got your gift. Many of us didn't deserve any of those things. But people give those to us as a gift. And then Paul goes on to say salvation is not a reward. You don't do something and get rewarded for the good things we've done, so none of us can boast. Jesus' finished work on the cross, all by itself, Jesus plus nothing else equals everything. That's all that there is. And that work on the cross alone gives God the freedom to declare us righteous. It's his performance, not ours. I am so relieved to hear this good news. I am so relieved to hear that it's the performance of Jesus that secures my own righteousness with the Father, that I could in fact stand among him holy and blameless without a single fault because of the righteousness of Jesus. And understanding and believing God's grace, when you understand it and you believe it, it motivates joyful obedience. It motivates. It cranks up that engine to obey God joyfully rather than having a burdensome striving, hoping that you can kind of even the scales or at least some way catch God's attention. So when we truly believe this, and only when we truly believe this, that we're fully accepted and loved by God, there's nothing that we can do or have done to earn it. That in fact, there's no failure that's going to cause me to lose it. Then you realize there's nothing left to prove. I don't need to attend church services more. I don't need to sign up for more things. I don't need to open and read more pages of my Bible to make sure that I'm winning God's favor and approval. Then I get to live joy. My obedience is fueled by that joy. And these are the truths that will set you free. And these are the things that you believe that help bring transformation to your life. He did it, we believe it. He is these things, and we believe it.